Greetings. These are interesting and frankly scary times. For those trying to launch a new business or nurture one that has been launched and is struggling, or for people just graduating from high school or college and wondering what the future looks like, or have lost a job and are trying to figure out what to do in a time when jobs are few and businesses are closed. Let me offer two suggestions that I think will be helpful. Number one, don't forget the basics of Dream Toolbox. One, you still need to define your goals and dreams in such a way that you can almost touch them. Second, you need to practice every day visualizing those dreams so that they are real in this moment, not in some future time. You need to treat every obstacle as if it were a puzzle to be solved, not a barrier. Remember, puzzles by definition have a solution. And you need to work every day to change your default mindset from I can't to yes, I can. Those are important. Second, look for opportunities where others see a crisis. This is not always easy to do. If it were, everyone would do it and the opportunities would no longer be there. However, the opportunities are there and they can be found. Let me give you a couple of examples. I'm an investor, and so when COVID-19 caused the stock market to crash, I thought to myself, there must be companies around who have been dragged down, but who will actually benefit from the medical problems that we have. So I looked around and I found several and bought them. And it turns out I was right in most of the cases. And I looked back and my average increase in profits over the last 30 days was about 10 to 50%. Not bad when most people were down 25%. That doesn't make me a financial genius. In fact, I'm usually a pretty poor investor in public markets, which is why I stick to the private sector. But this was so obvious that there would be companies that would benefit from the health crisis. All I needed to do was to find them and invest in them. So that's one example. Now, you may not be able financially to invest. That's okay. So what? That doesn't mean there aren't opportunities. I have a friend who had no money, but because of some prior business contacts, knew a factory in China that was high quality and that he knew he could trust. When last we talked, he was negotiating to bring millions of surgical masks from China into the U.S. market where they're in great domestic demand still. And he will likely do that without ever spending a nickel of his own money because he's found a buyer and a seller, both of whom need the product, and he can act as the intermediary and make a profitable business out of it. Now, I'm sure there are other opportunities, probably hundreds of them. What's important is the mindset that sees opportunities and not problems. And the mindset that has the courage to act when others are sitting around saying, oh, poor is me, what's going to happen? The sky is falling. That doesn't help. You also will see opportunities that I and others never see. The key is to look for those actively and then seize on them when you find them. Let me give you one more example. A good friend of mine owns a company that sells cosmetic products. His usual customers are dermatologists and clinics, but that's of no value when all those kinds of businesses are closed right now. So he looked around and he said, what can I do? And realized that with people staying at home, they had more time to shop online and more time to care for personal needs than when they were working. He opened an online distribution program, found a marketing team that he could bring on board to handle the basics and the nuts and bolts of it all. And the results? In the first month, his sales are up 300%. He saw opportunity where others saw crisis. So, one last suggestion. When this is all over, it will be easy to look back and see hundreds of opportunities that existed that someone used for their benefit. What you don't want to do is be one of those looking back and saying, I could have done that. Why didn't I? Instead, be the one whose friends are all asking, how did you do that? How did you have the courage? How brave you were? The answers will be simple. You looked for solutions to puzzles and had the courage to act when you found them. Do that. Good hunting.